Hello, football fans, and welcome to this edition of the Billy Skinner Lamar Viking Football Coaches Show. I'm Bill Frawley, and with me, as always, of course, is head Viking football coach Billy Skinner. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great today. Another opportunity to get better.
Hey, I love that. I love that. You know, my sons that both went through athletics at Lamar High School, they taught me a lot of those kinds of things that you coaches instilled in both of them. I remember one day we were on a trip somewhere. Sorry, I'm diverting here, but this is a tribute to you coaches and what y'all have done. We were at a hotel somewhere and they said, Dad, we're going to go down to the workout room. You want to go with us? And I was like, yeah, maybe. They go, if you don't take the chance today to get better, you won't get better today. And I'm like, okay, pressure, thanks.
Love it. I love
Well,
that.
so anyway, but I just want you to know when you said that, it just triggered something. And you guys have not only impressions on the youth at the school, but the families at sometimes also. So
Love
my
to hear
apologies to everyone that had to endure that. But anyway,
that.
well, hey, last Friday's game against Waxahachie was very close. Now, especially when you consider the hardship that the Vikings were up against due to some players out with COVID protocol. I know there's HIPAA rules. You can't talk about specific players. But I just heard that several players were out Friday night. Is there anything you can tell us about that?
Yeah, so we've had some guys who were banged up and out for various reasons. And so with that being said, it created other opportunities for younger Vikes and other Vikes that wouldn't necessarily have an opportunity to play Friday night football. And so, you know, we had a chance to go and develop some depth with some guys that maybe we didn't anticipate playing in a varsity season early in the year. But, you know, that's great for us to be able to develop that depth here in non-district before we get going in the district play.
Okay. Well, so speaking of that, the Vikings fought hard all the way through the game, never giving up. Wonderful. I mean, you know, the Vikings defense held the Indians to only 14 points, and they had just put 28 on Rowlett, I think, the week before. So that's pretty darn impressive considering everything. You know, you alluded to it already, but can you say anything more about what it was like to have some second, maybe third string players starting and or getting significant playing time in the game?
You know, experience is something that you can't take back. So the fact that we had some guys who got to play 50 and 60 reps against a very, very good football team, that's going to go a long way, and that's going to be nothing but beneficial to the Vikes. I'm glad you hit on what we did defensively. Very proud of our kids' effort. You know, we had a lot of kids out there that were just playing like their hair was on fire. In fact, so much so that, you know, we were able to go and we pulled about 3 or 4 clips just so we can show everybody in our program, hey, this is what we mean when we say elite effort. This is what the Viking standard is when it comes to playing football. So there were a lot of positives out of that. And, you know, just as far as kids being out and kids getting reps, I look at it as a positive and an opportunity for our kids to get to play football against good teams and get ready to develop that depth.
Well, definitely so. Can you share anything about the overall health, whether it's injuries, other stuff about, you know, what's it looking like for this coming Friday against Louisville?
Yeah, so we're gonna be getting a few kids back, which we're very, very excited about. Just so we can have that depth, so we can have more depth on special teams and those things. So there'll be some familiar numbers out there that weren't out there the last couple of weeks. So we're excited to get guys back.
Good. Well, what are some of the key things y'all are going to be working on in practices or have been working on? We're doing this show a little bit later than we normally do, Labor Day, whatever else excuses we want to make. But what are some things y'all are working on in practicing coming up for this game?
So one of the things we want to do here is we want to be masters of the mundane. We want to get really, really good at the boring stuff. So what that means for us, we got to be a lot better tacklers. We got to be a lot better blockers. We got to do a lot better job of blocking in space on the perimeter. So much so that we made it a program emphasis this week. Monday during our Labor Day practice, all 3 of our teams had practice, freshman, JV, and varsity, and we did a fundamental circuit that involved everyone in the program. And so we had a defensive circuit outside, and then we had an offensive circuit inside. But again, we want to be masters of the mundane. We want to get better at what makes good football teams. So we want to get better at blocking. We want to get better at tackling. We want to get better at getting off blocks. We want to get better at securing the football. So we didn't just talk about it being an emphasis. We made sure that we are making it an emphasis. And, you know, it's for us, we're not worried necessarily about what schemes we're putting in and those things. We want to get good at boring football.
I like that a lot. I don't know that I've ever heard of becoming masters of the mundane before. And I'll tell you, coach, you're having an impact again. I'm going to find ways to work that into both of my jobs.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, I've
really
got to admit, I stole that from someone. I don't know for sure who. I think I saw it on Twitter, but ever since I saw it, I was like, hey, that's something that, that goes a long way. It's probably a Bill Belichick deal.
It sounds like something out of his genre and playbook stuff. Well, good. All right. Well, this Friday, the Vikings travel over to Louisville to take on the Farmers. And coach, they've hung half 100 on their first two opponents, Bowie and Timber Creek. Is that an intimidating task to the players and coaches?
So, and I tread lightly here, but I've always been taught, and I've always taken this thought process, and that's that I'm going to respect all. We as a team are going to respect all. We're going to fear none. So just like everything else, our deal is, hey, what do we have to do to get better as Vikings? And for us, we know this week we've got to be great tacklers because they do have some guys that can tote the rock. They've got some guys that can do some things on the edge, and we know we've got to tackle well. We know we've got to block well. They've got a very sound, solid defense, and so. Yes, they're a very good football team, but again, we don't get hung up on the opponent. We really do focus on what do we have to do to have success this week.
All right. Well, speaking of that, then kind of a good segue here. I looked up some of their stats. The Farmers seem to, or excuse me, I think now they're the Fighting Farmers. Seem to lean more on the ground game than the passing game. Looks like about 265 on the ground per game. The first couple of games, 165 in the air. 11 of their 13 touchdowns have come on the ground. Does that bode well for the Viking defense? And you mentioned some things about containing. So go ahead and explain what you think.
Absolutely. So that's something that, we are definitely focused on this week. We know that their running backs do a great job. They've got great vision. And so really for us defensively, we know we have to play team defense. We know that if I'm a cutback player, I've got to make sure I'm playing that cutback, tracking inside out. If I'm a point of attack player, I know I've got to do my job at the point of attack, whatever that is this week. So they're really, really amped up and excited for that challenge. But they also understand, hey, just do my job, play with fundamentals, and we're going to be okay.
Sounds great. On offense, will the Vikings be relying on speed and agility to try to outplay the Farmers defense?
So we're going to rely kind of on our training. We're going to have that renewed focused on fundamentals. We've got to make sure we take what they give us in some spots. So they're going to be, they've got some cats that can run, and they've got some big kids, but they've got some guys that can run. So I don't know if we're necessarily running past anybody or running by anybody, but I know that if we do a good job with what we worked on Labor Day and what we worked on yesterday and what we're going to continue to work on for the rest of the week, there's going to be some positives going for us offensively.
Well, I like what you said about looking for the spots they give you. So whether it is out running, out playing, out maneuvering, but just watching for it, there's a hole, there's a crease, take it, right?
That's right. Go where they're not.
Okay. There you kind of like in baseball, hit it where they ain't. So you run where they're not. All right. I like it. Look, Coach, I've been very impressed with the number of fans turning out at the first two games, an away game at Pennington, a home game at Cravens. I know Louisville's a little bit further away than some of our local away games, but what do you want to say to encourage the fans to make that trip up to Louisville?
So the biggest thing for us is it makes a difference. It makes a difference to hear your voices and see your faces in the stands. So whatever you can do to get out there, it means the world to us as a staff, and it means the world to our team. So I hope to look up and see a bunch of our families, but I hope to see a bunch of old Vikings like we have been for the last couple of weeks. So that's what we're looking forward to.
Okay. JV team plays at home at Cravens on Thursday, 5:30, I believe.
Yes, sir.
So freshmen will be at Louisville on Thursday, tradition, correct?
Yes, sir. There's two games.
Okay.
There'll be a 5:30 and a 7:00 at Louisville for the freshmen on Thursday.
Perfect. So we also want fans to, pack the stands for those freshman and JV games as well. They need the support also. But of course, fill the stands up in Louisville for Friday night for varsity. Coach, what else would you like to say before we sign off?
All right, two things. First thing, there's going to be, and this is, I appreciate Garrett Carey. He sent this to me, and so I've shared with our families, but I want to share it again. I-30 closure on Friday. So if you're going out to Louisville to support us, you're going to have to find an alternate route. I know that we're going to go the bottoms and we're going to go 121. So anybody coming out to Louisville, you're going to want to avoid 30 because it's going to be shut down. So that's one thing for our families and for our fans that are going to come out. And the second thing, I just want to thank all of our Viking families and supporters. We made a call early on in the first coaches show, I believe,
Yes.
where we asked for Gatorade donations and those kind of things. And, you know, I looked in my office the other day and I had a huge stack of Gatorades, almost taller than I am. So that's greatly appreciated. And I've had people reach out and ask if there's anything that they can do for the program. We're always going to accept those Gatorade donations. So if you do want to continue to donate, or if you do want to donate for the first time, all you've got to do is just bring them over to the MAC here at Lamar. You can call for me, or you can find one of our athletic trainers and they'll store them for us. But that's greatly appreciated by our players and by everybody here.
Awesome. I'm so happy to hear that there's been a big turnout of that, and look forward to supporting some more myself as well as everyone else. And we appreciate all that support because, again, it's the Booster Club, it's the fans, it's all these things that make the program as successful as it is, complimenting what you do and the coaches do and the players themselves. So that's awesome. Glad to hear that. Well, until next time, I'm Bill Frawley with head Viking coach Billy Skinner saying VFND.
VFND.